I think it's a crucial part.
I would say for most advertisers, like these are the metrics that we look at.
The clients would never see the problem with their product, you know?
That's what's going to build the rapport and actually get you those results.
All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, you can see that we have Stefan again with us. We're just continuing our series about ads. Last episode, we talked about media buying and what happened before. How is it perceived nowadays? And today is time to talk about metrics. Metrics, which is, I think it's a crucial part of your ad strategy. If you're not looking at metrics, you are not in the game. I don't know what you're doing if you're not doing this. If you haven't done it before, that's completely fine. That's why we're here, to just explain to you which metrics you should have a look into it. But I'm just going to let Stefan take over again and kindly explain to us what he's usually looking at when checking ads.
Great stuff. Wait, because I lost you. Like, what is the screen? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I lost you for a second. I was looking at something.
Look at
Thanks
metrics.
again. Look at metric. Yeah, thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast. And today we're just going to like briefly touch the metrics. Now, if we talk specifically about metrics, there's just like actually like a few metrics that I personally look at. I'm sure other people probably even look more in depth, maybe, or like they have other metrics, but I would say for most advertisers, like these are the metrics that we look at. We talked in the past episode about how to like set up a campaign. Now, again, if you have any questions, shoot us a message, hello@useclip.com. We can definitely help you out, give you like some tips here and there to just like launch your first campaign. But then like, let's say you launched your first campaign and now the question is, what do I do, right? So what are we going to do? First of all, now, when you launch your first campaign, you need to give it a bit of time for these ads to actually spend some money to just like understand what's happening behind the scenes, right? So what do you want to do? Now, give Meta some time and Facebook and Instagram some time to actually run your ads and just like show these ads to people. Now, there's the first question that appears always. How much should I let these ads to run until I take a decision? Or like how much time should I give these ads, before I take a decision? The answer, to be honest with you, I don't think there's like a straightforward answer to this on like, hey, how much time should I give to them? I think personally is like the first thing that I would like ask myself is like, how much am I comfortable to spend in the context of my entire budget and in the context of my entire business? But ideally, and I'm talking about like our experiences over here, and like the products that I run ads for. Yep.
No, sorry. I just wanted to add, but also, how much are you willing to lose in terms of like money?
Spend before conversion.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's also important, right?
You're going to have to lose a bit in the beginning. So like I think this is like a good point. Is like, don't get scared if your ads are starting to spend like a couple of $100s and you don't see any conversions. It's literally part of the learning process. Don't get panicked. Understand this is how it works. And Facebook again needs time to actually find these people that are actually going to convert for you and buy from you. What I'm doing now is just like I'm leaving an ad to spend like anything between, let's say, $100 and $250 or pound in our case. Let's put it like that, right? Just because this is how much we're comfortable to spend. We know our like acquisition cost is around that area over there, so we just like leave these ads to spend around that what do you call it, like budget, right? Now, if you have in this campaign that we talked about, if you have multiple ads, just like not all of them, they're going to like spend this amount, right? You're probably going to have one that spends the most budget because remember from last time, because Facebook thinks this is a better ad, right? They have like some metrics and they think this is a better ad. That ad is probably going to spend some money. The other ones are not. But let's put it like this. General rule is just like $100 to $250. Again, this depends on your personal context as well. What's your acquisition cost and like what are some of your business metrics as well, right? For example, how much you're selling a product for, right? If you're selling a product for $50, probably you're not going to be like comfortable spending $250 or something like
Yeah.
that. So you have to like really put that in the context of your business. That's why I was saying like there's no straightforward answer, and this is like what I'm comfortable with personally until I decide what do I do with an ad. So like that's the first like thing to do over there. Just like understand this process is going to spend some money, it's going to need some time, and just like don't get panicked if Facebook spends and you don't really see any conversions in the beginning. Give it like 7 days, right? Don't even look at ads in the next 7 days. Let it run for a week and then just like open Facebook Ads Manager. Make sure they don't have any errors, before you're letting them run 1 week, right? Just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So let them run for like 7 days and then like basically go back to Facebook Ads Manager and look at metrics. So now is the question, what should I look at, right? When I'm looking first time at metrics. Personally, whenever I open like Facebook Ads Manager, it's just like I'm looking at the following things. First of all, for us, for us, it's just like I'm looking at conversions or like purchases, let's put it like that. I just like launched 3 new ads. Did any of these ads brought back any purchases? Because if they did, that's a great sign, right? And then like purchases or conversions, like it's kind of obvious, right? I'm not going to dive deep into it. It's like how many people actually bought your product. So that's actually the first thing that I'm looking at. But I think more important than that is just like the cost per conversion, right? Okay, just like 3 people purchased from me, but how much money I spent in order for like Facebook to actually find these 3 people? Because if the cost per purchase is too big for me, that's not a good ad, right? And again, this is something that you need to put in the context of your business, right? What is your target acquisition cost per purchase, right? What is your target acquisition cost? Each business and product, they should know this by themselves. I know at Social Cat what it is. I know like Clip what it is. So I'm putting that in the context of my target, right? If this cost is way above my target, that's not a good sign, right? If it's like close to my target or just a bit above the target, that's still fine. So let's give an example. Let's say that like last week, what is today? Today is Wednesday, right? Last Wednesday, I just launched my first campaign. I launched like 5 ads. I have 5 videos from creators. Everything is great. I'm going back and I'm looking at these ads and how much they spent. Let's say one of them spent like $500 and it brought me like 2 conversions, right? Okay, so that means that the cost per purchase, the cost per conversion, or to find the customer is $250. Take that $250 and like think about it. What is my target acquisition cost, right? Is that a good cost for me? Is that something that my business is able to support? Because if it is, then that's a good sign. If it's not, then definitely that's an ad that even if it brings conversions, it doesn't bring them at the good cost. So that's something that you have to like think about yourself. What is my target cost per purchase or target cost per acquisition? This depends, like, to be honest with you, on a bunch of things, and you literally have to like kind of like figure that one on your end, on your business. For us, for example, it depends on the LTV, on the lifetime value of a customer, right? Okay, I'll just give you an example. If I spend $100 to acquire a customer, I want this customer over a period of time to spend with me $300 because that's going to make sense. I'm going to make profit, right? So that's like something that you have to like think about it. Now, ideally, the way we think about it is like you want a ratio of 1 to 3. I'm spending $100 for someone to purchase, for a purchase. I want to make $300 for you. So it's like that 1 to 3 to 3 over here. There's also like other things like, like do you make your money back from the first transaction? Because like, for example, if you spend $100 on someone and they just like purchase something for $100, that's great because you made your money back from the first transaction. Now you have to wait for them to just like come back and like purchase more. But let's simplify it. First, I look at conversions and cost per conversion or cost per purchase, right? And that's like the context on it.
Do most of the times when you start the ads, literally when you start your first campaign, your first ads, well, obviously ideal you would have a cost that is like under your target, right? But what happens if all my ads, like the 5 that you just mentioned, are over my cost of like acquisition, like target? What do you do with them? Do you close all of them and you just open new ones, or you just give them another like week to see what happens? Or yeah, I don't know, because obviously I don't think I mean, you can be very lucky and you can get your first 5, like whatever, let's say 2 out of your 5 ads to have your target cost of acquisition there. But I don't think this is necessarily the case. And I've seen from our experience that most of the times you won't get necessarily the right cost from the beginning.
You're definitely not going to get the right cost from the beginning. The question is like when you're going to get the right cost, and that's what like optimizing means, and like finding better creatives, right? That's the whole idea. To be honest with you, like again, like this is like no straightforward answer because it's a very tailored individual solution for, or like an individual answer for each one of you. But I wouldn't really close them from the first time. Okay, I let them run 7 days. I'm just like having a look at them, and the first thing is like, okay, am I comfortable with like spending more budget, and like how many conversions I got, and like is this cost per purchase? Where is it? Because like again, if it's a cost per purchase of like 200, my goal is 250, and the cost per purchase that I get on Facebook is 500. That's too far. That's actually too far. I'm just going to probably stop it. But if I get the cost per purchase in Facebook at $300, that's actually quite close to my target, right? So I'm just going to give it some more time over there.
When is the moment when you've tested so many different ads, so many different creatives, the conversions are still so expensive? When is the time to actually look into the product and the website before you just keep putting money into the campaigns and into the ads? But the actual problem is that the product is too expensive, or that the website customer journey is not okay. When does that?
That's actually like, that's a great question, but that's actually, you shouldn't even run ads before you make sure that your website and like product is
of
like,
course. But if someone does do that because they don't realize that their products suck, but like, is there even a number that you're just there like?
I think it's gonna hit you at some point. You know, if you spend $5,000 and you don't get anything, you start having questions, right?
But you know, you would be surprised because a lot of the people, well, my personal experience, the clients would never see the problem with their product. You know,
They never see it. I know what you mean.
It never is. It's always fault of the marketer or whatever you know they're doing with the ads or creatives. So I feel like it would be very interesting to know your perspective. It's like, when would you actually?
Again, I don't think there's like a very, very straightforward answer. Just like for me, it's like more, okay, let's put it like this. I have like a batch of ads that I just like launched, you know, and there's also other signals that you can look across the board, right? Let's put it like this. The way I would do it is like, okay, I'm having these ads, they spend quite a bit of money. Let's say they spend like $1,000, right? And I'm a small business owner. All these ads, I'm looking at them, they spend money, and like they have great CTRs, right? They have great click-through rates, which means people are actually clicking on the ads and they're going on the website. But I don't see anything happening from over there. And moreover, on top of not having purchases, I also don't have any other registrations or adds to cart, which I'm going to touch in a few seconds as well. Then I start asking myself questions, right? So there's other like things on the board that you can look at. If people are clicking through the ads, which is like the click-through rate, unique click-through rate, let's put it like that, and it's above 1, which means it's really good, and like a lot of people are coming on your website, but nothing happened, okay, you're going to like ask yourself questions. And there's also like other steps before the purchase itself, right? The whole funnel, the registration, right? Someone registers over there. Like, let's say you see a lot of like registrations or even adds to carts, but like no one really like completes this process. Then if I see that, I'm going to ask myself, okay, where are people dropping in my funnel? There might be a problem over there. So this is how I would think about it. You know, there's like a few other things that you can like look across the board to understand this. Probably like, I wouldn't really look necessarily at the budget, but let's say like if I spend like $1,000 to $2,000 and I literally don't get anything, and I see a lot of people coming on the website and I see registrations, but I don't see any purchases, I'm just gonna have to like wonder and like ask myself and just go and look at other things. You know, look at how is my website experience, how is my funnel looking, how is my product looking.
Do you have any bugs maybe on your?
Any bugs as well,
Maybe people cannot check out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does happen.
I was going to say one thing here just when you're on about that. This is something for brands too, because it's a personal ick of mine. If you are putting an ad up for a specific product, make sure that link you're linking to through to your website is the same specific product, because you will lose out on so many actual purchases there if a customer goes on and then they have to physically do a lot more legwork of actually going through to buy that than actually linking it. Don't just link to the overall website, link to that specific product page, because that could be something so simple, but that you're losing out on sales because of.
Yeah, you need to cut that journey as much as you
People
can.
are lazy. Give them the most or the least amount of steps to actually making a purchase, I think, always.
Okay, so now that we just like have a bit of a better understanding of this and like something to think about is like, okay, what's the next thing that we look at these ads? So again, we look at the amount spent, how much each ad spent, because that's like quite normal. That's the first thing that you're going to look at. And then we're going to look at purchases, cost per purchase, but I would say cost per purchase is more important. Again, because if you have one ad that spent $250 and only brought you a conversion, which means it's $250 the cost per conversion, but you also have an ad that spent like $30 and also brought a conversion and the cost per conversion is $30, this means this ad might actually be better, right? So cost per conversion is actually more important. So that's like the first thing that I'm pretty much looking at, but emphasizing cost per purchase is that, or like per conversion, like it's or CAC is like more important, right? Now there's also like other things that I'm looking at, right? So like, for example, the Clip, we also have like registrations, right? People that actually like registered, they started the registration process, but they haven't really finished this like registration process, right? So this is like another like metric, like registration in this case is like an action, right? So it's like CPA probably, cost per actions and cost per action. The registration is the action. The cost per action is actually the cost per registration. So that's like kind of like the second thing that I'm looking at. There's a lot of ads that they bring a lot of registrations, but people just like for some reason they never really finish this process and they never really buy. So the question is like, what happened over there? Why are these people not really finishing this process and not buying? There could be like a plethora of reasons over there, to be honest with you. I'm quite confident our like sign-up process is like super good, but it's hard to say like why these people are dropping. You know, there could be like a bunch of reasons. Maybe it's not the right time to buy. Maybe something happened.
Window shopping.
But the window shopping, just like they wanted to see and they changed their mind for some reason. So it's like, it's hard to pinpoint like a specific reason.
Maybe because but again, this is our case. It is we're talking about the platform that you need to register in order to purchase something from it. For us, it might also be the fact that you have to pay upfront, so they're still not sure, okay, is this legit, is this, you know, what am I going to do? Even though we do have a refund policy, like
I feel like the decision making process is slightly longer for a service like this than it would be for a lipstick that is like more based on like behavior and emotion and just like impulse buying.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think there's like something like important because this is going to basically confuse people over here. So there's like two separate metrics, right? It's like CAC, which is like the cost per acquisition, the cost to acquire actually a customer. And there's also the CPA, which is like the cost per action. Let me just give you an example. At Social Cat, we have trials and we have customers, right? So we have a trial of 7 days. People start the trial and just then they convert into customers if they decide to, right? Now, we optimize our ads at Social Cat towards the start a trial action, right? So that's going to be for us cost per action. In this case, the action is start a free trial, right? Another example, like an action could be like add to cart, you know? So what is the cost of like add to cart? But this is like very different than the acquisition cost, because the acquisition cost means someone purchased, you know? These actions that are previously, the customers haven't really purchased, right? The next one is like the acquisition cost. That's like the real one when the customer purchases from you, right? To understand what is the CAC, we have to see which ones out of the people that started the trial actually converted to customers, right? I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say that you have 100 people that started the trial, right? from an ad. And the cost per like start trial is like $50. Super simple, right? Then this is the cost per action, right? Cost per start trial. Now the question is, out of these 100 people, how many of them they're actually going to convert into customers, and just then find out the acquisition cost, right? Let's say if only 40% of them actually converted into customers, then you have to do the math over there and understand what is the actual acquisition cost over there. So these two are two like separate metrics. So when I look at these, I look at both of them: conversions, actions, cost per conversions, and cost per actions.
With the cost per actions, so in our case, as we mentioned before, is the cost per registration. The cost per action should be basically less than the cost per acquisition, right? Because otherwise it's not sustainable.
Yes, exactly. But that's like it's going to be less. It's definitely going to be less. Again, like if you have like 100 people that started the trial and that's cost you like cost per start trial is like $50. Automatically the question is like how many of these they're going to convert into paying customers. And like you do the percentages and you do the math over there. If 40% of them if 40% of them converted into actual customers, it's going to be a different cost. It's going to be higher, obviously.
A higher cost, but that's what I just wanted to mention, that the cost per action should be less, otherwise it's not sustainable.
I want to emphasize it's more important the cost per these like purchases or actions, not necessarily like the actions or the conversions itself, right? It's important to monitor that. Now, what am I looking at next? Then I'm probably just like going to like switch like slowly to like ad creatives and understanding what's actually like a better performing, right? If I'm having like videos, I'm probably going to look at the hook rate, and like the hook rate is basically how many people are watching the first 3 seconds of my video, right? A good hook rate means like people are watching the first 3 seconds and the hook is good, So maybe you want to just like, I'm talking about videos, maybe you want to take that hook and put it on like different videos as well, because it's actually a good hook, right? So hook rate. Now the question is like, what is a good hook rate? From the ads that I've seen performing both at SocialCat and Clip, I would say a 20% is pretty much a good hook rate. 18, 19, 20%, I'm going to be happy about it. I'm going to take those first 3 to 4 seconds and I'm just going to put them like on other ads. Now, also like on top of this, I'm looking at like click-through rate for clicks and click-through rate for each ad. But there's also like a small little trick over there. I'm looking at like unique outbound click-through rate. So basically just like the click-through rate, if you're going to look in Facebook, it means that it's going to tell you the clicks on anything. Basically, if someone clicked on your image, if someone clicked on your like, I don't know, text or something, it's going to count as a click. What you're interested in is just like the people that actually click to go to your website, right? To your website. So that's like the unique outbound CTR, right? The unique outbound CTR tells us as well how good the ad is, how enticing it is, the copy, the video, the image, because people did an action and went to my website, right? A bad unique outbound CTR or CTR, I'm just going to call it CTR, it's, I would say for me, under 1, it's kind of like a bit of a bad CTR, right? If it's below 0.5, I might even like stop the ad itself as well, because it just like pisses me off, right? But whatever is like above 1, I'll consider it good, and I'll look at it with other metrics as well. Maybe like, let's put it like this. Whatever is like above 1, it's actually like a good CTR. It means that people are clicking through the ads and they're just going to my website. So these are kind of like the next kind of like 2 that I'm like looking at. What else am I looking at? Like frequency, I think this is like the part where I'm starting to look at other metrics as well, right? We have the frequency, which tells us like how many times like how many times like kind of like a person like seen your ad. If you have this one like close to like 2, that means like a person kind of like saw your ad like 2 times, which is like already too much. You might see a correlation between this one and the ad performance just like dropping down. Not necessarily though.
I have a quick question here. Can then the brand control how much you see it? Because I sometimes get ads and I've had them like 4 or 5 times, like a ridiculous amount, the same ad I will get. Why does that happen? Or is that because they have not touched their frequency? Or is that because I at the start stop, watch it for a bit, and they're like, okay, they watched it for longer, we're going to serve it to them again? Or why does that happen?
It's because probably the frequency is like literally like way too high. You're probably in a small bucket of an audience, which is actually a good audience for that ad and for that specific product, right? Maybe that bucket of people on Facebook is actually quite small, and because like the advertiser hasn't really, you know, touched the ad, you keep getting served the same ad. So probably the frequency is like quite high over there, I would say.
Maybe also most of the budget is going towards that ad, and that's why it's still like
getting pushed,
you know,
Interesting. The irony here is too, 9 times out of 10, it's my own ad. Like,
quite often this is what it's going to be, because you give Facebook a reason to believe that you enjoy it. Then you become a part of this smaller bucket.
And then they're just shop it.
Do you get annoyed when you get an ad served like 4 or 5 times?
To be honest, yes. After like a couple of times is fine. I'd say up to 3. I'm like, yeah, grand. But once it goes over that, then I'm kind of like swipe 10 times quicker.
Too much.
Because then I'm like, I've seen this, I'm not interested. Why are you still serving it? Kind of thing. It's fine though, because you get like testing too, like ads. If I get served, you get, I don't know what this is called, but I'm in the same bucket. But I'm getting served a different ad, but it's the same company, same thing, because obviously I've seen another ad.
That's what they want.
Yes, that's fine. I think that's grand. But when it's the same thing over and over again, I'm like, I'll just swipe down quicker. And then I feel bad because I'm like, obviously they're putting spend for me not viewing that.
No, but I've got the same thing. It's like whenever I click on sponsored ads on Google, I feel so bad.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Okay, what else do I look at? So, okay, we talked about these. I probably look at like at least a clip, which makes a bit more sense, and probably just like something more geared towards like e-commerce. It's just like return on ad spend, right? Like how much return you get on like your ad spend. I would probably say like, not sure exactly what's a good one over there, but probably around 4. I would say it's actually something that I'm happy about it, right? So what is the return on ad spend basically, and also like the purchase conversion value? Okay, like again, like how much money did that person spend on my websites, right? So those are like some good indicators, or like interesting indicators to look at, but they're not as important as the ones that I mentioned. You know, the most important are really the first ones, to be honest with you, and putting those into like a context to the other ones. So these ones also, like what I'm looking sometimes, I haven't really done it in a while, but I also think it's like interesting to see is just like what is the engagement on like ads that are performing, right? Like I remember at SocialCare, like these like best performing ads, they have like, there's like this ad that has like literally hundreds of comments and thousands of likes and like
people
stuff. So
tagging each other.
I'm also like curious a bit like more, what's the sentiment, right? What are these people talking in these ads, you know, well, I mean, these like comments and stuff. So engagement is like something else that I'm looking at. And there's also like the reach, impressions, and like CPM, but I don't really look at those that much, to be honest with you. Like reach means like how many unique individual users we have just like reached on Facebook, right? If like reach is like, I'll give you an example. If reach is 100, that means like our ads have been seen by 100 unique individual users on Facebook or Instagram. It's different than impressions, right? So like the next one is impressions. Impressions, like how many times has our ad has been seen in total. But like think about this, if it's 100 again, maybe like someone just like sees that just like as Ali, right? If you've seen our ad 4 times, that means it's 4 impressions. So it's not unique, right? So like that's basically the difference over there. And then there's also like cost per 1,000 impressions, the CPM. But to be honest with you, I haven't really looked in a while at that, and I never really considered it that important. It's just like, okay, how expensive it is to advertise to an audience, but I haven't really looked at it.
My question now would be, because now you kind of touched upon it, you know, the question of the reach. And I feel like that's, as a UGC creator, clients just want to see their video go viral.
Yeah.
Like that's quite often, and fair enough, right? But I feel like, would you say it's a little bit of like, what do they call it when it's just for the kind of outlook?
Ego.
Vanity,
Vanity metrics. And I feel like this is one of those. So I wanted you to kind of touch upon a little bit more. It's like how irrelevant the reach sometimes is when the creative is just not right. But the other way around as well is like that there are moments when if there is, you know, if that video would do so well organically, there obviously the bigger chances there are that it's going to make an impact on the paid audiences. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more of your thoughts about this. So all the brands out there who are only looking at their TikTok views, I think would be important to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, it's quite simple. I don't personally care about it that much. So the thing is like just because just like yeah, but I just like this kind of like thing, like I'm expecting like this video to like having this expectation of a video just becoming viral. It's actually a wrong expectation.
Yeah.
Just like going viral, it happens 1 in 100,000 times, and it just like happens out of nowhere, and you're definitely not going to be that brand. There's like so small chances over there to actually happen that just because of a bunch of things. So I think it's not okay to actually expect that. And also there's like people that actually engineer going viral, that actually study this phenomenon very, very well, and they just like try to reproduce this this phenomenon. I'm not sure exactly how to call it, but like the thing is like most of the brands are not going to do that. So I think like expecting to go viral from a video which you pay like $200-300 for it is just like wrong, and it's not going to happen. And also like I don't think it's like a good metric to watch necessarily and assess performance on it, just because reach is like directly tied to how much you spend. You're going to spend more, you're going to pretty much reach more people, it's like that simple. So it doesn't make sense at all. Like I can reach with an ad, let's put it like this. I have like an ad and I can reach 1 million people, right? I'm going to keep putting money on it. I'm going to keep putting money on it. Like 1 million people have seen my ad. But if the click-through rate is 0.3, that means this ad is bad. And just like, there's no point in these people seeing my ad at all. So I don't think it's actually the right metric to watch.
I think, just to echo what you said there too, even if a brand's video does go viral organically, it doesn't always equate to sales. So like that could have went viral because it was really entertaining. That's not, and I would love for like brands out there to kind of like put this as like your end goal is to have more sales. So you don't like, yes, your video, you're like, it was so viral, this happened, that happened. Did that make you money? Was that worthwhile? Because sometimes, and as me being even a content creator, if I go into businesses too and create content for them, I'm constantly saying to people, sometimes it isn't this really flashy, engaging ad or content that's going to actually bring the sales. Sometimes it is a wee bit more boring, but it's getting across your key points, it's getting across the story, it's that community building that people are going to actually be repeat customers, and those won't always have the highest views, but in the long-term scheme of things, that's what's going to build the rapport and actually get you those results.
I actually used to compare it to my previous clients. It's like, imagine what would be bigger impact if you just shouted on the street to thousands of strangers something, your message. Would that make any impact? Or just having 3 meaningful conversations with 3 simple people who are actually interested in what you're saying? All it is, just make that impact on a smaller bucket of people that are actually interested, instead of just shouting to random strangers who couldn't give a...
I think that's also like a great point. It's just like, it's like going viral, it doesn't mean you're going to bring sales. It's just like sales,
that's
just like, and like people, they just like get like hooked on this idea. I assume like
it's a fame chasing,
obsession.
Especially with like TikTok as well. I've heard this like a lot of times, just like, we want to go viral because we've heard of this brand that went viral, because of like X, Y, and Z. But again, viral doesn't happen to anyone. It's actually happening like really hard, and like some of the people that actually do it, they engineer it, which is like very complicated to do, and it's not going to happen.
Plus, I think there's a difference between a video going viral and a product going viral, right?
I
feel like the product going viral is a very organic process. And it just happens when we see it, right? More and more people start using the product and just showing that. And I feel like that's very different than just creating a viral video that just hits once and then is gone in 3 seconds.
I always love the example, even in my head here. You know that purple toothpaste that went viral, all the videos everyone's creating? That to me, that was great viral, because the sales would have shot up for them guys, because everyone was buying it solely to try, like, does it actually do? Whereas then you have those other trends that go viral, for example, like throwing water on someone, or like random different stuff, it's trends. The first video probably went viral for that, but all these other recreations, they're not, do you know what I mean? Like they're not going to the same, because it's not about the product at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So I feel like it comes back, if you can do something viral for your product, great. But not all products have that virality, so don't always try to replicate it, because it's not going to always pay off, and there's no real point.
Andrea actually discovered another competitor of ours, and actually they're using some of our copy, some of our structure, which is not really nice, but that's fine because I mean that's the game. But what I wanted to say is they do have this video where someone is throwing water on the person that is talking, you know, and I'm just like, how is this related with UGC? Like what like your product is
It's just
not
the
about
shock value. It's the shock value that
Yeah.
brings that kind
Yeah.
of.
it's just like it's not going to hook me up because I don't want to see a person who is in the middle of like, and it was really gloomy outside. It wasn't even like summer or something, you know? Like that person is freaking cold now.
Yeah.
Why are they putting her to go through this?
It
you know?
is random.
Yeah.
The extent that of the randomness online, I think,
Yeah.
in the ads
Yeah.
specifically, is quite.
Yeah. Of course.
Oh.
Not sure
Overwhelming.
if you remember like the like for always like when I talk about like viral, there's like this guy. This happened like a few years ago already. So there's this guy that went viral, and he's just like a regular guy that like based in LA. And one morning he was just like skating towards work. So he was on his skate, and he was just like drinking like a Fanta, you know, like this. And there was like some music on the background, and he was vibing, you know. And like that video like literally went viral, but it happened out of nowhere. The guy
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
vibing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Doing his
feeling
thing.
good. I'm just going to work. It's like 8 a.m., sun, like 6, whatever, 6 a.m., like sun is rising. I'm on my skate. I drink a Mirinda. And like so many people thought that it's cool, or like so many people like resembled themselves, you know, doing that the guy just like became viral, you know, or like, but like again, that doesn't really happen. That's why I'm saying it happens to 1 in 100K, or actually even more probably. Or there's like another example. There's this Italian guy, Kaby Lame, right, that went viral on TikTok, and now he's working like, he's probably like one of the biggest, not, I said YouTube, on TikTok I actually wanted to say.
No,
I
no,
said
you
TikTok.
said
Yeah.
TikTok,
Oh, I
TikTok,
said
yeah.
TikTok, yeah. So I think it's like his like handle is like Kaby Lame. It's this Italian guy who just like looks at like people on the internet and finds them like doing stupid things that like they don't know how to do them, and he literally just like shows them how to do it, you know, and like he just like recreates the video.
I think
Like
I know him.
each
Yeah.
video of his, like he starts looking at the video and then he's just like this or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
looks like,
yeah.
I'll show you, you know, I'll show
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And the guy went
It's
viral,
hilarious.
right?
Oh, I remember
So
that.
the guy
yeah.
went viral. It's like millions of like followers on TikTok, and
he
I think
doesn't
now he's
talk.
working
It's
for.
just
No,
He
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Genius.
That's
He
just
doesn't
the
even
style
talk.
of the content. The style
Yeah.
of the content was the reason why he went viral, or because people could go on
Exactly.
their his other videos and see that it's the same kind of formula, and that's what hooked them. But again, it's not a recipe because this is something that they
It's
were
not.
doing before organically, and that one video just made them explode. Also, when a person goes viral, this has nothing to do with the sales that person could bring or the video to your actual
Yeah.
product.
The key takeaway is all those people or businesses that did go viral, it's because they found their thing. And I think sometimes brands are so trying to take
Their
everything
thing.
that like focus on finding what's your thing that like helps you interact with your audience the best, that helps the ads perform best, and then just as Stefan was saying there, like take, if it's a hook that's doing really well, cut the start off, put it onto something else, and just recreate it, and then you found your area to then like fully go into.
Yep. And just to kind of like wrap it up somehow, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan, but I think a good way of looking at all these metrics, because like Meta is giving you so many metrics. When you go on your ads manager, you can just scroll and scroll and scroll and see a lot of metrics, right? We just talked about the main ones, the most important ones that you like, they are crucial for your business. But I think in general, if you're not sure about an ad that is like, you know, close to your metrics, I think just try to go deeper into your metrics if you're not sure. Like Stefan said, you know, like, okay, fine. You look at your cost of acquisition. That's the main thing. Like how much is going to take you to get someone to purchase your product. And then you look at the registrations, you look at click-through rates and stuff like that. But the deeper you go, I think it is also about the fact that you would not know what to do with the ads. So that's why the other metrics are there. So they can guide you towards your decision if it's like, you know, time to like close that ad or still giving it a chance based on the fact that, oh, but actually, you know, the hook rate is really high. Let's just leave it for a bit. But the cost of acquisition is a bit too higher too, but you still want to leave it because why not? It might just get better next week. So not just into those like very like basic minimal metrics, but also just dive deep into the other ones.
Talking about Maria, I pretty much touched on that, but like how do I optimize the ads, right? Did we answer this question?
I think that would be another episode.
And that would be definitely another episode.
And
Another.
it's
Fair
a
enough.
perfect, and I feel like it's a perfect
perfect
organic
ending.
flow of, you
Yeah.
know, we set up our campaigns, we now know what metrics to look at. Now, what do we do with those metrics?
All right, so we're going to talk about optimization afterwards, after this one. Just to wrap it up. Now I'm wrapping it up. Don't worry, guys. Thank you, Stefan, for being with us today, and for joining this series. I think it's going to be a very useful series, to be honest. Hopefully, it wasn't that overwhelming or not too boring, because I know it can get a bit like. But it is part of your marketing strategy. It is part, like a crucial part of like, okay, if you're using UGC, then you should use them in your paid
What
ads.
to do with it?
Yeah, exactly. What to do? Okay, you have the UGC. What do you do next? As per usual, just let us know if you have any questions or if you have any topics that you want us to discuss. Reach out to us over Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, email, pretty much everywhere. So let us know your thoughts, and we will see you on our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.